Wait, let me smell that. What is it?
It's just straight vodka with a little lemon.
I mean, dude, when I first pierced my nose, right? So when I was in Santa Fe, New Mexico,
God, what a great
as
reaction.
a kid, I fucking pierced my nose, I pierced my ear, and I wore a chain. I was in high school. I wore a chain between the two.
You look like you probably drank and did some drugs.
Yeah, I did. I was crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember cleaning the nose ring on a daily basis with rubbing alcohol.
It might as well have been
It's
there.
exactly what that smells like.
You don't smell the citrus, the lemon in there? Just the booze?
I just smell the sadness. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah, here we are. Here we are. Wow. What an incredible last 36 hours I've had. I hope you guys had a great weekend. My weekend was exciting. My weekend was not typical. It started July 3rd, where I went to Quebec City, Quebec, to do this huge festival with Sir Rod Stewart. I'm still kind of like processing the fact that that happened. So Rod Stewart is my hero. A lot of people know that. He's been my lifelong favorite performer, one of my favorite songwriters, one of my favorite singers. But we've become friendly in the last couple of years. And several months ago, we were having dinner in LA, and he just turned to me and said, "Are you busy July 3rd? You want to come and do a show with me in Quebec City?" That's how simple it was. And I said, "Well, I have a show in Milwaukee on the 4th. He goes, "Yeah, you can make it. Come on, you can do it. Let's do it." So we had to pull some travel strings, but we made it happen. And I played with my band for an hour before Sir Rod took the stage in Quebec City at this huge festival, and it was, I don't know, 40,000, 50,000 people, and it was absolutely incredible and so exciting, and as much fun as I had, and the audience was incredible to me and my band, but I just couldn't wait to watch Rod play, because he's still, at 80 years old, just phenomenal. If you've never seen Rod Stewart in concert, go. So yeah, it pays to be friendly with Rod Stewart because he asks you to do cool things like come to Quebec City and do a show. So then we flew from there the next morning to Milwaukee, where I closed the last night of Summerfest. I was one of the artists closing Summerfest, which is a big deal in Milwaukee. And it was kind of full circle because I remembered that when my first single, Don't Mean Nothing, came out, which just had its anniversary of going to #1 on the rock charts in 1987, but the song had just come out in 1987, and I'd had like no performance experience, but was like, we had to get on the road. We just started playing shows. And my first band, we played a shitty little club in Studio City, California, for 200 people, most of which were my friends. And then on the 4th of July, I believe, we got on a plane and flew to Milwaukee, where I opened Summerfest. And they let me play for all of maybe 20 minutes. And then here we were 38 years later, closing Summerfest in the same place. It was such a trip. So it was a really, really fun few days. I'm happy to be home for a minute. It's a really, really crazy, busy year, but it's nothing but good things. And I find that, I don't know about you, but I too much downtime, I get antsy. I love being on the go. I've always just been like, go, go, go. And even when I'm not touring a lot, Daisy and I end up booking a trip somewhere because we love to travel. We just like to be on the move. So I'm not complaining. I like a little bit of stillness and taking a breath, but then let's go. What else can we do? And that's one of the reasons why, in between making records and doing lots of shows, I decided to do this podcast and this YouTube series. The reason I wanted to do Stories to Tell is because I love just sitting and talking to people, especially over a cocktail. And it's been really, really fun to sit down certainly with people I know and love, and just have a really deep, in-depth chat with them. But also people I never met before, as well as people who I didn't really know. I knew them a little bit, or I'd met them in passing. So it's been really rewarding for me. I hope you guys have been enjoying the series. And my guest this week, I'm very excited to tell you, is one of my dearest pals, and one of the most talented singer-songwriters I think out there. His name is Matt Nathanson, and he's just such a badass. He's one of my favorite performers. I think he's one of the best live performers on the planet, partly because he's just so good musically, but he's so funny, and he's so in the moment. He's so present. It's very inspiring to watch him perform. And he's so quick and witty and sometimes very irreverent, which is why I think we get along so well. But I love Matt, and he came into town to come to the studio with me and hang out with me while I was recording several weeks ago. And then the next day we set up here right behind me, and we did this episode and this chat, which we got into all kinds of stuff. There was no real direction to this talk. We just kind of went in a million directions, down a lot of paths, just like we do when we get together. Matt's one of my friends who, if we haven't seen each other for a while, we just make a point to get on a FaceTime. And sometimes those FaceTime calls last an hour, 2 hours, where we're just talking so much shit about all kinds of stuff. So this is kind of an example of that, except the cameras were rolling. So enjoy this episode. Like I tell you every week, if you haven't subscribed to Stories to Tell, do it now. Tell your friends about it. Tell them to subscribe. And for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode with my buddy, Matt Nathanson.
Wow, I've been waiting to say this. Cheers, Matt
Dude,
Nathanson.
it's good to be with you
buddy.
all day. The best.
All day. Let's cover this. Let's talk about our day.
Yeah.
I don't know when this is going to air, but it's going to be soon enough. Here's what a friend you are. You find out that I'm going to go back in the studio and do a couple more songs for this album that I've been working on, where I'm recording everything live with a 24-piece orchestra.
On the floor, as they say.
On the floor. Old school, meaning everybody, human beings, get together in a room and play music.
Yeah.
And I've done plenty of that, but usually what I used to do back in the day was I would lead the band, and I would do what they call scratch vocals. I would do like a vocal or two, and then I'd go in the control room and really produce the track and make sure the track's perfect. What they used to do back in the day, in the Sinatra days and the Dean Martin era, is that the singer would record their vocal live with everyone all at the same time, and that's what this album is. And I've been sharing bits and pieces of it with you, so when I said, I'm going to go back in and do a couple more songs, you were like, I'm fucking driving down to LA,
dude.
and I want to be there. I said, okay, can I just be a fly? I was like, of course. And then you come and hang at my house, and so you came and spent the morning with me in the studio.
It was great.
And then you went with me and we went hiking, and I got sunburned a little bit today.
You
a little bit.
Sharp.
And
brings out your sauce.
yeah, it does. Oh, you wait till you see the sauce that's coming out.
Meow.
And then we had a nice dinner with our dear friend Matt Scannell.
Oh my God.
It was 2 Matts and a dick
Yeah.
for dinner.
Yeah,
And
dude.
now here we are. We're going to do an episode. Now, here's what's really cool. This will be my second martini because we're doing this later in the evening. Later in the evening.
I'm like 8. I've been pissing. It looks like a mountain stream. Clear.
I want to start with that. Tell me you've never had a drink of alcohol in your life?
I thought you were going to ask me about my penis.
No, that's later. We got to work up to your penis.
I just have large testicles. It makes everything look weird.
Yeah.
Throws off the...
Tell me about the decision that you
To not
do
drink?
not drink alcohol.
So you didn't drink for a long time. Let's
No.
tell the cameras this. Is that true? Mm-hmm. Now it's like,
I used to not, but not. I didn't.
yeah, you were not like a teetotaler.
No, I was not a non-drinker
Right,
like you.
right.
But I would drink very occasionally and not. I didn't really know what I was doing. And then I met Daisy Fuentes, and she taught me how to
I know,
drink
I love it.
and live and do all kinds of things and enjoy life.
Yeah, I think, but it's probably my thing. I drank when I was a kid.
You
Like,
did?
Yeah, like when I was started in 6th grade. Like had alcohol 6, 7, 8, 9.
What was your drink back then?
I would like
Beer.
just drink. We was in boarding school, so you just drink whatever anybody smuggled in, and then you'd be like,
Was there anything that you liked?
no, it all tasted like shit.
So you did it just like with everybody
Jack
to get fucked
Daniels,
up.
rum, like Mad Dog. You literally drink fucking Scope if you could.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is awesome, you know, and then like,
Give me some cough syrup.
yeah, it was like that kind of stuff. And then finally, when I just didn't like the taste of it, and I think about control, and I have a family full of fucking people who like to drink, and it's like
Gotcha.
they're kind of terrible at it. And so I just like decided, I think I had my last, I've seen a picture of it. Someone sent me a photo from senior party in high school, and I look like an unattractive woman. I have very long hair, and it's all hennaed, you know, because I like used to color it. And I was a hippie, so it's like long. It's like a mullet that's growing out. And then I'm there, and I have a cup in my hand, and there's a girl who liked me, who I kind of liked, and then this other kid. And that's the last beer I probably ever had in this time of year, 1991. So it would be late May, early June of 1991.
So was it seeing that picture that made you go, yeah, I'm never doing
No,
it?
so I just saw that picture like 2 weeks ago. Somebody sent it to me, and I was like, "Oh fuck, this is what I look like when I." So that one time, I just didn't like it, and then I've never done a drug. I've never smoked a cigarette.
I've never smoked a cigarette.
Yeah.
And I'd never done a drug until
Oh
50,
shit.
until I was 50. I've done a couple.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I've done a couple.
Can't
a couple
do
times.
no street drugs.
Few times.
You can't do street drugs in 2025.
You know, I was so dogmatic about the drug thing. I was really convinced I was never ever going to try a drug.
Yeah.
And then when I did finally just go, no, fuck it, I'm going to try this. It's literally, I smoked, a couple of hits of a joint for the first time. Which, first of all, inhaling anything into my lungs for the first time at 50 years
Yeah,
old.
no, that's crazy.
Was crazy.
And Mary Jane to boot.
Yeah, and Mary Jane.
You know,
And it's not my thing at all, but I do like a gummy now and then.
that's what everybody says.
Yeah, I love
I want to do frog venom.
Of course you do.
Yeah, that shit. I want to go into the fucking woods.
But do you want to do like ayahuasca? Yeah.
And my wife, somebody says to me, they always say to me things like, you should smoke pot. Like, you're kind of uptight, you know? And I'm like, and I say to my wife, like, dude, should I smoke pot? She's like, 1,000% no. Like, of all the people on earth that I know that should smoke pot, you are not the one.
She thinks it would have a reverse.
She goes, you would be the one in the corner scratching
Right.
your skin and being like, ah, ah. And I'm like, dude, does that happen? She's like, yeah, like 1 out of every 1,000 people. So I don't do any, but anyway, I have no interest in it anyway. Because I think, so I have 2 things. One's going to make me sound like a dick, and one's going to make me sound like a
dick.
like a Mormon
Like a
dick.
bigger dick?
No, one is like
a Mormon dick.
one is I don't like the taste of it, and I like control, right? So I don't do
Yeah.
that. The other part of it is that I have this theory about crutches, and I don't believe in them. And so I don't want, and it's not rational, and it's not based in anything, you know what I mean? Like, and I've seen things work for people, but just truly, I don't want to lubricate myself in order to have an experience. I want to be able to get through my own, not that that's not why you do it, I'm not saying, but like.
It's great clarification.
Yeah, like, let me just clarify that, like, but people will be like, most people say things like, yeah, I just like it. It makes me, I want to loosen up at the end of the day. And to me, I'm like, if I can't figure out how to loosen up at the end of the day without something I'm dependent on to do it, and that's not true either. See, this is the dick part.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you see what I'm saying? This is like, it's irrational.
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
super judgy.
And I think, no, and the bummer is that I it's funny, I don't feel this way about you. This is true.
Looks good on you though.
Yeah, doesn't it? My judgy shittiness. No, I think that like I get it when my intimates,
Yeah.
my intimate people get drunk or they become slightly blurred because of alcohol.
Yeah.
And they're my intimates.
Yeah.
I am unmoored.
Yeah.
And so it's not like you and I are friends. I love you to the end of the earth. I don't depend on you. And so when you have a couple too many and you're having a good time, it's like fun. It's like, oh, Richard's a little drunk. If my wife like has a couple too many, it unmoors me, and I allow, she's allowed to do whatever she wants, and I back it, and she's fucking. But there's a part of me that's like, there's a part of me that just feels like I get real judgy, I get real shitty, and she can tell me to fuck myself. That's how that works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like fundamentally, I just don't like impairment.
Yeah.
Like, and
I totally get that.
And so I don't want to be impaired. And then when it's someone that's my intimate, in my history of dating people, like when there's, it makes me unhappy. And it's not like I'm like a fucking cock about it. I don't like, you know what I mean? I'm not going to snap and be like, what are you doing drinking? You know what I mean? But my center vibrates incorrectly.
Yeah.
I feel like, well, what if the bear comes in? Are you going to get the bear?
Right.
I'm always like, how are we going to do this? What if I need you? What if we're, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's so anyway, alcohol
I think that's
to me,
really interesting because you're raising questions with me too, because my perspective on my drinking, which I'm a drinker, like I drink pretty much every day. I have kind of like a limit that makes me feel like, okay, that's my thing. That's fine. Very rarely do I drink to the point where I feel like, wow, I'm kind of tipsy. I think you've seen me kind of half drunk, maybe at my birthday party or
a couple times.
But I think, at least what I'm told, seems to match up with my recollections of these events, which is that, I'm never belligerent. I'm never aggressive. If anything, I'm a little extra lovey and silly.
I've never felt that. Can we fill that martini glass again? I'd like to be held tonight.
You're right up here. You're
right in this room. Think you know where to knock.
He's staying here tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm
Go
also,
for dick.
And I'm also not kind of like some of my friends who drink excessively. I feel a version of what you're saying. Even if I've had a couple of drinks, there are a couple of guys or women too, that I've hung out with, where they get silly to the point where I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm uncomfortable because that's not who you are. You're being silly.
I think it's a disingenuousness.
You're being sort of like
I think it's my need for. I have a really strong. What feels authentic to me. It could be incorrect, by the way. It's based on my read, but to me, authenticity is really important. And alcohol feels like when someone is impaired by alcohol, they're not necessarily their authentic self.
Yeah.
And so I feel a little bit, when it's someone that's important to me, I feel unnerved.
I object
like someone
to that.
Putting an accent on. If my wife was like, "It's good to see you, my son," I'd be like,
completely
what the
object to
fuck
what you just said.
wrong?
I think it's the complete opposite. I think that when people drink, or they do,
they become more real.
They become more authentic. Ooh. So like the people who say,
that's what I don't like. I don't like it. I don't want people to have to do something
I
to
was
become
drunk,
authentic.
I didn't know what I was saying. Like these people, like celebrities who get arrested and they're blitzed out and they say racist, horrible shit or homophobic shit. Like, no, that's in your fucking heart.
Well, it's their animalist parts come out.
The booze just brought out the truth.
Yeah.
That's just my philosophy.
Well, and I don't disagree with that, but I think it takes away a cognitive part of what makes people non-animal, and it makes you to this point where you are sort of like you're at your most base, essentially.
Yeah.
And I just think like it's better than that. And so
the other thing, and this now it's like a mini therapy session for me. The other thing is, I think maybe I've never said this word, but we know each other very well at this point, so this won't surprise you. That like one of my biggest pet peeves is hypocrisy.
Yeah.
I really have a problem with hypocrisy. And in a way, me justifying that I want to have a martini or two, on a regular basis, given that I am so diligent about my health in every other way at my age, at 61, where I know this is not the best thing I could be doing for me at 61, but I've rationalized it because, first of all, I really enjoy it, and unlike you, I love the taste of vodka.
Well, and also
tequila.
quite possibly, it relaxes you to, then that's going to make you last longer than anything. So that's the other part of it. It quite possibly?
Oh, I can justify this shit all night.
You're like, and I can pee.
Yeah.
And it goes
But
far.
I know, and also my algorithm on Instagram, for example, is just nothing but fucking PSAs now. Like, why are you still drinking?
Incredible.
You work out. You don't eat sugar. Your diet is super clean. You take these supplements.
Sugar?
I have had no added sugar in my diet for 2 years now.
Okay, hold on, Richard. Why?
Oh, because I know it's really, really bad for me.
But in moderation.
No, there's no moderation, just like there's no moderation. And by the way, this is alcohol. I mean, this is sugar.
But I'm saying, like,
this is alcohol, which is sugar.
Right.
But
oh yeah,
he said as he took another sip.
Yeah, as he said, not being hypocritical. But I think that, like,
no, you just nailed it.
Yeah.
I made the decision.
Humans have trouble with power, and I think that and alcohol is powerful, sex is powerful, God is powerful, guns are powerful, technology is powerful, and like human beings feel so at a deficit, especially because of the way that our culture teaches human beings how to feel. Like on a daily basis, it hammers home that you're not enough in order to sell you things. There's this idea that people then can't handle power. And so real power is super fucked, right? So if you become powerful in some way, you rarely find people who handle that well. But then things that are powerful like technology, sex, God, alcohol, most people have an inability to handle it. So by and large, it in and of itself, it is not bad. It's how humans abuse it. And I think that's the part of it that's like, it gets a bad rap. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just don't, long answer round, I've just never thought about drinking, and I could not imagine myself drinking.
Yeah.
And in songs I use it as a metaphor all the time. I love it as a metaphor. I love it as a thing.
It's like you use sex as a metaphor, which you never have.
I've never had sex. Yeah. I mean, I did that one time with that sheet that just had a hole in it, and it was magical.
Magic?
Yeah, it felt like magic.
I also, just to put a point on it, I also really love all of the aesthetics attached to drinking. I love, you can't see it. You know, when we had the idea for this show to do it at my
At the bar.
we originally were going to shoot this way.
Yeah.
Because I have this really sexy bar here, but it's full of labels of alcohol. And everybody was like, we can't, there's just too many labels and bottles.
It's sexy though.
But it's really cool, right?
Yeah, I like it.
But I'm such a fan of barware and the...
well, and you're a fan of like the Rat Pack.
I love the whole era.
Stuff. Yeah, that vibe.
I love it so much. There's an elegance about it to me. And I also just love hearing the bartender shake the martini.
Right.
And I used to be an olives guy, but now I've switched to a twist. And
Wait, why'd you do that?
I
I don't know the difference.
just tried the twist one day and I was like,
Wait, let me smell that. What is it?
it's just straight vodka with a little lemon.
I mean, dude, when I first pierced my nose, right? So when I was in Santa Fe, New
my
Mexico
God, what a great
as a
reaction.
kid, I fucking pierced my nose, I pierced my ear, and I wore a chain. I was in high school. I wore a chain between the two.
You look like you probably drank and did some drugs.
Yeah, I was crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember cleaning the nose ring on a daily basis with rubbing alcohol.
It might as well have been
It's
this.
exactly what that smells like.
You don't smell the citrus, the lemon in there, just the booze.
I just smell the sadness. No, I'm just kidding. No, but it literally smells like rubbing.
Smell the
alcohol.
sadness.
So crazy.
I will say a little segue. The first time I've referenced Rod Stewart on this show many times, and we've talked about him.
Yeah.
I adore Rod Stewart, and I've become friendly with him in the last couple of years. And the first time he and I went out drinking together, I mean, it's Rod Stewart.
I know.
Like
I would drink for Rod Stewart.
James Bond. I imagine that the fictional character of James Bond thinks, oh, now Rod Stewart, now that's a drinker. So I go out with Rod the first time we go out, and I said, what are we drinking? He goes, I want to have what you're having. You do martinis, right? And I was like, yeah. So I order the martini the way I drink it, which I don't use vermouth. It's just pure. It's clean. It's my favorite vodka. We toast each other when the martinis come, And Rod Stewart goes like this. Fucking hell, mate. Is it just vodka? Like even Rod was taken aback.
That's great.
And he went, you're more of a man than I thought you were. Yeah, I just love it. I absolutely love it.
Dude, and I love that you love it, by the way. I do. That's not even me being fake.
Yeah, no, I'm fascinated as someone who only started drinking like 10 or 11 years ago.
Yeah.
When I'm with people who are like, yeah, I don't drink, and I know plenty. I'm always curious as to whether it was, well, I'm sober, but in your case, it was just like, yeah, I don't like it, and I'm not doing it, and I don't
I don't do things I don't like, and so I don't like the smell of it. I don't like the idea. I've never had coffee.
Yeah, that's the other thing, dude. What the fuck?
I know. I love the smell of coffee as I get older because I'm dying inside. You know what I mean? And like,
you love tea.
I love tea. I love tea. I don't have a problem with caffeine. I just never have wanted to sip like burnt water, like, which is like,
you've had it, you've tasted it.
No, like when I was a kid, my mother had, I thought it was Coke in a glass in the fridge, and I came out from outside and I grabbed it and I took a sip and I was like, this is the most disgusting shit I've ever had.
So you were traumatized by
that. But I don't know. I mean, that's a lot. You know what I mean? I just have never thought about it. Like when people are like, you want some great coffee? I'm like, I definitely don't.
But what if I made you an iced coffee with really good espresso?
Oh, I mean, that sounds painful to me. Espresso
and milk
sounds like anger. Espresso, it's like espresso feels like
this is sadness.
You've just taken it and you've squeezed, and it's just all that comes out are drips of anger.
I start my day with anger and I end with sadness.
But I don't know. Like I've never had it. I don't eat coffee ice cream. I don't like.
Wow.
I also have a thing with olives. They taste like what I'm assuming Pompeii smelled like. Do you know what I mean? Like when the cooked flesh of the native people, like
God.
all the.
You are so tweaky about
and then
like strange things.
Mushrooms. Also,
I used to hate mushrooms, and now I like mushrooms.
They remind me if I like fell in the forest.
Yeah.
And then I mouth open.
Yeah.
So yeah, beets I'm good with. Although it's a terrifying moment when you've forgotten, obviously, that you ate them, and you're just looks like a fucking crime scene.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, but I like almost everything else, but I just don't do olives. I don't do
booze,
mushrooms. I don't do booze, and I've never had coffee. I've never done a drug. I've never smoked a cigarette. And
well, good night.
Yeah, and thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming to my fun zone.
And the best part is that your last album is the most aptly titled album ever.
Oh, The King of Unsimple?
King of Unsimple.
God damn, that's right. Yeah.
You are the king of unsimple.
Dude, I said to my wife the other day, I told you about this. I was like, she told me people don't like to hear me rant. I was like, what? I was like, you don't like to hear me rant? She's like, no.
Because we rant. You and I, that's one of the things that this
I thought it was charming. I said that.
Well, it's charming to me because I rant too.
That's what I'm saying. I said to her, I was like, it's not kind of funny and charming. She's like, eh. And I was like, what? We've been together 30 fucking years. You're just telling me now? I was like, God, don't glad hand me. You
By the way,
booze hound. That's what I said. No, I didn't say
do you ever reference her name?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay, so I won't say her name.
Well, just I don't reference it because I hate when people come up to me and say things like,
where's,
so how is so-and-so? It's like, I've literally turned to someone and been like, what the fuck? Like, I don't say my kid's name, and it's not like they can't find that information because I've probably said it, but I just don't like when people pretend they know me in my intimate circle.
Yeah.
And they'll say like, oh, well, blah, 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 and for some reason, names. I'll tell stories on stage about my kid talking about her vulva looking like a cashew, you know, when she was little, or whatever. Like, I have no shit. I'll just talk about whatever I want to talk about. But for some reason, if somebody comes up and they say the name, it feels really invasive to me.
I get it.
If they say like your daughter, means they don't know, or your wife, that's like, oh, cool. But like if they say the name, I'm kind of like, I guess I got some fucking hang-ups.
That's why
I don't drink, but I don't like names.
But I feel like I want to reference this story. Because as you and I were becoming friends, we started to become friends like 10 years ago, 11 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And it was really organic. And I don't even remember. I remember we met in an office at Sony Music.
Well, that was 20 years ago.
Or was it Sony or Universal?
Monty
Monty
Littman's office. And you were brought in, you had a beautiful watch, which I remember.
Was it?
No, it wasn't that one. It was different. It was
you
big.
Remember my watch?
Yeah, I remember.
It was I remember that watch.
Do you remember that watch?
Yes, I do.
So it would be 2002.
Okay.
And you came in and you had a watch on that was very nice. And I remember going, and I was a fan. I'd seen you play I saw you on the first record on that tour at Great Woods.
Yeah.
Where your guitar player played that Cadillac guitar, remember?
Yes.
And you wore chaps.
Yeah, I fucking did, man.
Yeah, you did.
Jeans under.
No, jeans. It wasn't like David Lee Roth, but I thought you looked good.
Thank you.
And anyway, and I remember Monty was like, you want to meet with Richard Marx? I was like, yeah, of course I fucking do. And you came in and we hung out. And I remember we talked about making records, and I was on this trajectory. I'm an overthinker, so I could fuck up a Beatles reunion. You know what I mean? Like if they wanted to like exhume the two that are gone
would
and just
find
make
a way.
I'd be like, hey, you know, it'd be great if you all did U2 songs. People are like, what? It's like that would be a fucking smash.
Yeah.
So I am a convoluter, and except from like 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. when I do a lot of writing, when I wake up in the middle of the night, that's when I'm the clearest. And then as soon as the day happens, my control and convoluter self
This is
starts
something
to
I
happen.
didn't know about.
Yeah, so I function much better.
So all the lyrics that you write for these albums that I fucking admire so
Stop
much
it, you
happen
handsome.
usually between 2 and 5 a.m.
So yeah, that's a really good time for me to like get out of my own
start setting
way.
an alarm.
Get in my own. Or you got to have anxiety that fucking is so
whatever it takes.
punishing that you just wake up. And my wife, I have a little headlamp. My wife will be
A
like,
Petzl.
yeah, that
Oh my
Petzl.
God, so does Matt Scannell. What the fuck is
His
happening?
Petzl's way nicer. So
Because you know his Petzl, because you just toured with him.
and he fucking sent it to me because I was like, that's a great.
He
Petzl.
sends people his fucking Petzl.
Yeah, he sends me the Amazon link because my Petzl. So in Nashville 6 years ago, I dropped it and it broke, and I was like, oh, it's time to get a new Petzl. I am so miserly that I just use this fucking thing that's like it's rigged together with like Scotch tape, bubble gum.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and I push the button, I have to push inside it, and I push the mechanism, and I'm like, well, when this thing finally goes, I'm getting Matt Scannell's Petzl. That was
Which costs like $17.
yeah, literally.
Yeah.
It's like, but I'm like, I can't justify this. I'm a fun guy.
He gave me the Petzl that he
Dude, I
has
gotta
used
say,
for.
that he gave you one?
He gave me one, but I mean, like,
Hold
we're
on,
very
wait.
close.
Well, we're getting there.
You're getting there.
I'm gonna
Like
text
today,
him.
I feel like I advanced your friendship with Matt Scannell.
My
today.
Petzl,
And tonight,
my
you're gonna get a Petzl for your
Yeah, I'm
birthday.
feeling pretty good.
I feel like there's a Petzl in your
So
future.
what I'm realizing talking to you about this is that I sound like somebody who literally fucks in one position. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm talking and I'm just like, well, that guy's a fucking snooze fest, right? He doesn't like to buy Petzls. He doesn't drink. He only comes when it's when,
he's never had coffee.
Yeah, we never had coffee, and only when the sun sets in the east,
Yes.
and it's 63 degrees can he make, an orgasm. I am wildly out of control in many parts of my life.
I know.
But just none of the parts that
We
are
haven't gotten to them yet.
capable of being talked about in this party zone.
Okay, I'm gonna back you up a minute because we got a little off track. 2 to 5 a.m.
Yeah,
You got a Petzl.
it's incredible. And a pencil sharpener and a pencil. I love a good pencil.
Oh. Yeah. Wait, so your lyric process? You don't do it on your phone or on a laptop. You're
A couple different ways.
Yeah.
It can happen any way.
tell me because I'm very particular about
I
this
have about
too.
6 notebooks.
Yeah.
Everything looks like they put pencils on a chicken's feet and slapped its ass.
Yeah,
It's
they
just
look
like
a little
cross. Yeah.
mine look a little Unabomber-y.
Yeah. Sometimes I can't even read the shit I write.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, I think I said, is that Wonderland?
Yeah.
And then sometimes I type in my computer. Sometimes I write on my thing. Sometimes I dictate into a thing. Sometimes I'm just lyrics happen kind of all the ways.
Do you have any kind of this is probably a little OCD or maybe just not OCD, just nerdy. I have a thing where when I'm working on a lyric, it's a mess. It's all over the place, and it's like a random. I'll put this over here in different spots on the paper.
Yeah.
Like if I'm committed, like if I feel like, ooh, this could be good, then it's in the main body. But if it's like, I don't know, I'm going
on
to
the
put this up
margins,
here
like-
in the margins. But then when the lyric is done, when I think the lyric is done, my reward to myself is new page, very carefully
Yo,
printed out.
I like it.
So I have every song in that version somewhere in notebooks.
That's great.
Well, you don't have anything like that?
So tying into not drinking alcohol and not having a crutch, I also refuse to do anything that is like a repetitive, like
no rituals.
No rituals. So I try very hard to not have any rituals because I don't want to. I always say, this is rude, but when I say this stuff, but like, I don't mind sucking a dick. I just don't want to suck a dick I don't want to suck. Do you know what I mean? So like, I don't want to be beholden to things I don't want to be beholden to.
Yes.
And one of those things is like, well, every morning I get up and I exercise. Like I journal every morning, but it can happen at different times of the morning. But like I refuse to be run by systems.
I get it, but could I also phrase it like you refuse to be put in a situation where you disappoint yourself?
So it's probably that, and it's probably also a fear of being controlled by something other than what I want to be controlled by.
I get it, because I'm not good with rituals either.
Yeah.
I'm really not.
But you do such a great job of working out.
Yeah, but that could happen anytime during the day.
Sure.
Like if you say to me, from 10 to 11 a.m., 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., we're going to work out. I'm like, I might not want to.
Yeah. Dude, it's the same. And I refuse to, and I'm contrarian. So if somebody's like, it's crazy. I don't get it. The brain is a wild thing.
Yeah.
I'd like to get rid of it if I could, just sort of maybe take it out for 10% of the time when I need to do maybe math or figure out what, something with my kid that I need to do, but it's useless.
Like Daisy will say to me invariably, every once in a while she'll say, we're getting into this rut where we're just sort of doing these doing stuff that we don't really want to be doing that we have to do. These Zooms with business people or this or that. And like, when's the last time we just went, like we're really good about the evenings. We have our evenings together. They're sacred to us.
Yeah.
Whether she cooks dinner and we sit in here and I make us drinks and we talk, or we hardly ever watch a screen, ever. We just talk, we hang out together. Or we go out to a nice dinner. But during the day, we can be more separate.
Yeah.
And every once in a while she'll go, we need to go have lunches and just sit at a cafe and have a glass of wine and people watch and everything. And I'm like, yeah, no, I would love these. She goes, but that means that we got to get up in the morning and do our workouts and and then immediately, I'll look at her and go, I'm out.
Dude.
Because I'm not going to commit to that.
Yeah, it's a lot, commitment. And when I worked a job that wasn't my own job, and when I worked this job, you have shows that happen at the same time.
Right.
You have sound checks, you work your vocal, you do the warm up, you do the pregame. There's tons of those kind of things and I think that's why tour is so maddening to me, is that I'm beholden to this thing. I love the shows. I worship the shows. I worship the connection with humans. I love playing songs and physically emoting. It's a gift.
You do. You're such a great performer.
But every other part of it feels like, why do I have to do this? I just have this strong need to not do what I don't want to do. And it's like, I've had it since I was a kid. My kid has it. And it's like, it's a very hard way to, it's creating real friction on how to live your life. Because it would be great if you could just go through life and be like, what do you want to do? Sounds good. It's not my bag, baby.
Yeah, I get it. You started a segue that I want to get into with you because
compliment.
Having seen you live, especially the last time I saw you live, which was maybe 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, you came up to Ventura.
Yeah. You have a thing that is, I think, extremely rare, which is that the musical aspect of your show. And I saw you with a band, but it wasn't like full band. It was sort of
it's like an acoustic.
But the musical component of it, the musical meat of the show was so well executed, and you sang your ass off. And it's such an interesting thing because it's a weird thing because I really do have I have two relationships with you. I have the relationship with Matt, my buddy, where we get on the phone and we get on FaceTime and we fucking vent to each other and we laugh our asses off. But then I do have a relationship with you as a fan of what you do. When you put out music and I go through and you're one of the people when you have a new album, I sit and I listen to it from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And I experience it because I want to offer that respect to you as an artist, but also as my friend, but also because I want to hear what's going on.
Right.
And I I love the musical aspect of what you do, but it's the lyrics that I envy and admire. And sometimes, like, it's such a good exercise for me sometimes to listen to when you've written a new project, because I'll just sit there and go, he's working way harder than I am at lyrics. Like he's not working harder, but he's like, the bar is so high for you as a lyricist in a way that is inspiring to me.
Yeah. If I could write melodies like you and sing like you, I probably would. I mean,
Go on.
No, but I'm serious. Like, you have a natural, your musicality, and like, it's just, and so it's not that your lyrics aren't great, but like, if I could do that, then I could express the things I'm trying to express through the other the colors that you have.
That's very nice of you. We're talking about you.
Yeah, but it's true.
I'll give you the whole last 15 minutes to.
Yeah, it's good.
Watching you, so I am such a fan of when you go, yeah, I've written 11 more songs. I'm putting them out on this new record. I'm like, what am I gonna experience? So I'm such a fan of your creations, but then seeing you live, if anyone who is watching who hasn't seen Matt live, it's a stand-up comedy show.
Yeah.
But it's also super not a comedy show, stand-up comedy show, because you never feel like there's bits that are rehearsed or written. Your interaction with the audience, and I see you go out and like, during the song that you're doing, whatever that song is, for that 3.5, 4 minutes, you are a really powerful musical artist fucking in it. And your eyes are both closed and you're living the fucking song, and then you're connecting with like, it's masterful. And then for the next 3 or 4 minutes in between, before the next song, it's like anything goes.
Yeah.
And I can see you just, it's an appetite of, what do you guys got? What do you got? Somebody yell some shit out, or be stupid. Here, talk while I'm talking, so I can get in your face. And it's such a...
Well, you have the same, we share a similar thing like this.
Similar, but this is a different thing. And again, I'm talking about you now.
Yeah. So I feel the freest...
my show, I'm talking about you.
I feel the freest other than with my intimates, I feel the freest on stage.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember what I don't remember what I say. I don't really rehearse what I say. It'll be the kind of thing where like I'll come off stage and Aaron will be like, that bit you did about the clitoris was fucking hilarious. And I'll be like, what? And he'll be like, dude, you went off about how, and I was like, wow. I literally, because to me, this goes back to the idea that I need to be genuine and I need to be authentically myself. The songs, because I'm not a songwriter, like when you listen to great songwriters, they can take you through all sorts of emotional experience. Like really great songwriters, there's a dynamic. Like when you listen to Paul Simon, he takes you into you get all the nuance of who Paul Simon is within the context of his songs. He's masterful like that. My songs only give a certain portion of who I am because I have not figured out, may never figure out how to be more dynamic within the range of what the song is capable of. And I see it in other people and I try to get to it. It's really hard to do for me. And so being on stage, to me, I feel like the songs are one aspect of who I am, but then this other part is the other part. And if you're coming to hang out, I'm throwing a party, I want you just to come hang, I'm playing you some songs and we're doing a thing. And it's like, not like a party, it's more like a potluck or whatever. Like, hey, we're all doing this thing together. And it's like, I depend on the crowd, I'm vulnerable, I give myself, I let my guard down. And I think that's why I get the most angry. We talk about this a lot. One of my videos went viral of me telling this kid to fuck himself. And the reason that I do that is because I'm vulnerable on stage. And then people get in the way of that. Yeah. And they think like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, shut the fuck up. I'm in the middle of being, like, I just said something, like I'm dropping my guard and I'm being naked with you. And like, the only way this is going to work is if you're receptive to it. And that is such a gift that people give that back to me.
Yeah.
But like, if they don't, I get like real pissed. So like,
because it's like,
because you're doing a thing. I'm not your fucking monkey. Like, I'm not here to just like, I'm having a thing. This is my fucking thing. Like, you come to it and we're having a great time. But like, I want to do this thing because I think this is really neat. I want to show you this part of myself. I want to do this thing. And it's like, I appreciate that you're here. But like, yeah, I'm getting, it's a really vulnerable state, which is funny because you wouldn't think it is.
I'm not being vulnerable, but I have a tickle in my throat that's so bad right now.
Is it?
And
You're crying.
You're
emotional. I understand.
I'm like,
it's emotional.
Don't pause.
No, dude, keep
like,
this in. This is
really,
gold. No, that's fine. So
my nose is running.
Yeah, it's so
because
good.
I choked on a little bit of vodka.
Look at him.
And I'm like, oh no, don't, no, not.
So
and
good.
I'm telling my throat, don't, dude, not now. Do not close up. No, don't. And now my eyes are watering.
So good. It gets worse when you try and stop it. You're like, Jesus,
like
please. You're
church. Oh my God.
Yeah, so I get vulnerable, Richard.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you just
Oh God.
fart. You're just like take this whole
God,
thing.
that was so
That's
fucking.
good.
I knew it was going to be great, but
Oh my God, that's awesome.
I was really trying to avoid it.
I
was thinking,
saw you. I thought you had like an allergic reaction.
I was having a stroke.
Yeah.
And I was
smell
actually,
burning hair?
Yeah, I was like, does somebody make toast? But here's the thing. That's about our friendship. I'm sitting there having all of these thoughts as I'm really listening to you, and I'm like,
anaphylactic shock. You're like,
there's so much going on over here while you're talking. And I'm like, and then my voice, pull it together, man.
good. And the camera's good. You're like,
and I already coughed twice, which I don't, I think we should leave all this in.
so that's why my mother doesn't love me. Richard and scene. Oh, it's so good.
Listen.
Well, when my uncle touched me, all of a sudden you just start like, I'm going deep into something emotional. Show me on the doll, he said.
Oh God, when you got to like when you were really rolling, and my eyes were literally watering, and I thought he's gonna think I'm like really moved.
So good. I could text I'm like, Richard really went off tonight on this thing. I really made him feel.
The clip that went viral.
Oy.
You want to flesh it out? Because I asked you to. I was like, I couldn't wait. Like, what happened? Tell me the story.
Yeah,
like,
I just
happened.
told the kid to shut the fuck up, and then
but like set it out because
so
this
we
is
were
important.
playing in Aspen. It was a club that wasn't necessarily. It was more like a private show, which is where you play and people maybe know a song or two, but they maybe don't know the thing. And we had just gotten off a run of 3 weeks of shows that were really great, where everyone knew every song.
Right.
And then we got to Aspen, and it took me a second. If I'd known that it was going to be more of this kind of show, I would have adjusted my sort of, you adjust slightly. So I would have been like, oh, it's kind of this kind of thing. Cool. I'll go into that mode. But I didn't know it. So I went on stage being kind of my vulnerable self. We had a big wheel of songs.
Yeah.
I spun it. I made jokes that were kind of inside jokes. And it was like there were fans there, but there were a lot of people who must have just come to see a song or two or three or none. But it was going fine. Not a great show. And then there was a kid in the front row with his lady friend, and he's talking drunk in the middle of a quiet song. And I had been kind of trying to get through it. And finally I just stopped the song and I said, I'll pay you to shut the fuck up. Like if you, and then he was like, and I said, and then someone caught it on video of me telling him, shut the fuck up. And so I had this video since the tour, and I was sitting around, I was like, I never posted that video of that. That's kind of funny to me. And it shows a dynamic of my personality. And I thought it was so I posted it, and it kind of went viral. And there were, of course, people that were like, if you'd been more, maybe if you'd been more compelling, and then I look and it's like a fucking emoji with a private account. It's like, or somebody's like, Beyonce would never do that. Great things. It's like,
oh God.
And it's like, yeah. And then my other one, there were some really good ones. Humans are just like, I don't want them to show me they're stupid. I'd rather they just keep it locked down.
No, because I need to show
stupid. And like they were on full display. So anyway, most people, and especially most people who are artists, were like, dude, bravo. And like, it's not my finest moment. I don't think humanity should fucking tell people to shut it's like, I want to, but I don't think that's the way towards wonder and hope and kindness and togetherness. Sure, I'm fucking dynamic, but
what's the alternative? Because for those of us who are on stage being,
I don't think there's an alternative on stage.
there's no alternative.
No. I think
Because
the only way to do it is like,
look, and I'm anyone but, well, this is the way it's always been. This is the way this was set up, and this is the way things should be done. I'm always like game to like go against that. But when it comes to just common courtesy and the basic, if someone's up on stage and you're in the audience and there's a performance, you shut the fuck up.
well, yeah, and the
You
part...
don't interrupt or disrupt someone's performance when they're performing. You just don't. A 5-year-old knows that.
Sure.
And there's over time, I've noticed that from the time I started performing in 1987 to now, there's been a gradual, it's okay to talk while people, like, it's not okay.
Yeah, and but so yes, and I compulsively can't not say something. It's like if I had a rock in my
Right.
shoe, I just can't. Mm-hmm. Right? I could fight my way through it, but like life's too short. I'm too old, and I don't want to. And so for me, my wife always calls it the world police. She goes, "Oh, world police is here. What are you going to tell them, world police?"
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what lesson do you teach in the world today that they don't want to hear? And I'll be like, well, they should use their fucking blinker. You know what I mean? Like, and she'll be like, yeah, dude. So what are you going to do? I mean, I literally get out of my car. I'll be like, fuck, you know, like I have a hot button and my bucket is full.
Which you carry over to your stage.
Yes. And so I'm just lit. Constantly like ready to go. Just I think it's like a Massachusetts thing. It's also like an insecure thing. I think it's like it's a power thing. It's a control thing.
Yes, and maybe that's all true.
Yeah.
But when it comes to being a performer on stage in front of an audience,
Well, yeah, they don't
That's
know
different.
what it, yeah. And so I back it. And to me, it's kind of like if somebody's talking and it's not stopping, it's not just a momentary thing.
right, which is totally fine.
And they're louder than and everybody
They're talking
around them is
over you.
annoyed.
One of my jokes, by the way, every once in a while, when I feel like that could be going that way, if there's one guy or woman,
Yeah.
I'll at one point in between songs, when I notice them, that it's being consistent, I'll go, "Hey, I'm sorry, I don't mean to sing while you're talking."
That's great.
And then that usually makes them go, "Oh shit, I'm an asshole," and then I don't hear from them.
But
again.
and here's where I think alcohol is a bummer.
yeah,
And this sort of ties in. I think that like human beings drink alcohol and they lose their ability to have any sort of, not all of them, but they lose the thing that makes them say, hey, you know what? I shouldn't piss right here.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Or like, you know what? I shouldn't, you know what? This guy doesn't, because only a true prick would keep talking when somebody said, can you shut the fuck up? Unless they're drunk. And if they're drunk, then their thing is like, guard down. They're like, this is, you know, and it's like, so on a certain level, I don't like alcohol because I don't like condone the behavior that arises from most people using it. And like, so this kid was shit-faced and he was like, and his lady friend looked super mortified. And it wasn't my finest hour, sure. But like, show me anybody that lives their life independent of fucking letting their emotions override. Half these people are literally on a fucking phone typing to someone they don't know. I think anyone who types to someone they don't know is a fucking idiot. How about that? Whether they say good shit or bad shit. It's like, you don't fucking know this person.
Yeah.
Like, and so when somebody types something and they're like, you're a fucking loser. It's like, I'm the loser? Dude, what are you talking about? Like, and I get you, that's the shit I just don't get. It's like we live in a world where it's like
that 99% of that has nothing to do with alcohol or any.
No, but it's a different kind of
That whole
inhibition.
You know, the access that social media has given the public to public people.
Well, and that's even cool. But it's like I think for me, I was just bummed that human beings are this way.
Oh yeah,
Like that we talked about that today.
Time.
It's like I liked it better when I thought more of, you know what I mean? Like,
no. We decided today.
You can see the patterns that people.
I used to be like I grew up with this philosophy. Like most people are like inherently good. No,
so
not now. Most people are assholes.
So we disagree here, but I think fundamentally, I liked falling in love with the world. I liked falling in love with humans. I liked falling in love with things I didn't understand, and the internet and technology and knowledge has made it so my wonder, there's just no wonder. And wonder is seen as like as like a naive, stupid thing now. Because like, and to me, that's the thing that makes the world spin. Is like that's why music is so essential. Because when you put on Red Rain, you know there's a bass player, you know there's a drummer, you know what they're doing, you know Peter Gabriel's doing something.
Right, we know the mechanics of it.
But it's so magical. It's magic. And this is the thing about human collision as well. It's what makes live shows so great. And it's also what makes them mercurial, is that the human collision is also magic. And it's tough because we talked about this today. It's hard to find human beings because everybody's so bucket full that they're at almost their most self-focused version of themselves is what's happening lately. So it's really hard to fall in love with like the world because everybody is like kind of scrapping for their own and keeping their shit. And we feel like we know everything. We think we know what it's like to be Beyonce. We think we know what it's like to be, everybody has a fucking take on everything. And it kills the wonder that makes the world so magical. And so then we can find what doesn't mean we can't find gratitude in like the walk today, but like playing music and playing live, that human collision of like, I'm putting on a show for you. It's kind of my thing, but it's our thing. And then like that transcendence that happens when the things collide, you can't get that anywhere else. And it's like, you can't get it in cinema. You can't get it in painting. You can't get it in poetry. You can't get it in books. You can get different things, but like music is magical in that way, in many ways, but this way. So anyway, and I think that that's like the thing that breaks my heart the most about this period of time is like everyone is jaded, everyone is cynical, and no one has a sense of like the beauty and wonder of not knowing. And I think that like answers are so inconsequential in the long throw game as a control-oriented person, and I look for them all the time because it makes me feel safe. Answers are not the thing. Questions are the thing. And the journey is the thing. The answer changes over time, even. It's like the questioning and the moving forward and the asking and the finding. And it's like, I'm not a religious person. I don't subscribe to any of that stuff, but the spirituality of the world, the wonder of how things work, the beauty of it all, of even like, I used to fall in love every time I left my house, and it was not good for my life, right? But like, it was a pretty rad way to fucking exist because like you were turned on by people who were like, you fell in love with everybody. And it's like, I don't fall in love with anybody now. I'm loath to even be vulnerable to anybody because they don't listen. And this is a general thing. Everyone has been handed their mortality. And so in being handed their mortality, everybody now is self-focused. Everybody, we see it in wars, we see it in presidencies. And so it's like we're living in a time where no one really, I sit there with people and I listen to them talk to me, and then I talk and I see them cut me off and tell more about themselves and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, I get it, but it's like really boring. I'm really bored. I want to find I want to find unknown. I want to listen to a record and not think and just be like, it's so, I want to be lost. That's what's so great about great music is like, I forget who I am. So when something hits me, if I go see shows and then something is able to, even a momentary bit where I forget that I'm there and I forget what I'm thinking and I forget who I am, that's everything.
When's the last time that happened to you at a show?
Oh, it happens to me in movies. I go to movies in the theater now more than I used to. Mm-hmm. But like watching the Stop Making Sense, the redo of Stop Making Sense, I was watching the Dylan movie. I cried the whole time not because of the acting, not because because the songs are so good. Because Bob Dylan is the best lyricist we will ever have. Mm-hmm. And so listening to those things, I was overwhelmed I was breached by how beautiful it was and how amazing it is that this human being or going to see U2 on the fucking Joshua Tree redo tour and getting into Levi Stadium with my wife and being pissed off because it was impossible to get there. The stadium sucks. It's in the middle of a residential area. Will calls on one end of hell. You have to walk to the other end. You can't bring your bag in. What? So finally I get to the seats. I'm like, I'm going to last 3 fucking songs. Fuck this. I've seen this band 70 times. I'm here. Let's just do it. So we sit. And my wife, to her credit, is like the most empathetic human being I've ever met, the most spiritually advanced, the most emotionally advanced. She's fucking badass. So we sit, starts, fucking lights go down, and I just start crying. Because these are 4 very normal human beings. Like, you two are not Prince, they're not Joni Mitchell, they're not Sly Stone. They are like 4 very average people who do extraordinary things. And they decided at some point that they wanted to fucking rule the world by making records. And they did. And you see them come out and they're fucking short. Do you know what I mean? Like they're fucking kids when they were 14, and they found, and I don't believe this, it's a tough term, but like they found God like multiple times in their career for us. And we get to experience it. Like, you listen to With or Without You and like say whatever the fuck you want about anything. But it's like, that is a fucking moment where like the best parts of humanity are coming through these fucking people and we get to experience it. And that's so.
When I saw them live, I've seen them a couple times, but the first time I saw them live was on the Elevation tour.
Chicago?
In Chicago, where they recorded it and filmed. And I took my sons. And my sons were little at the time. They were, not little, but they were like 11, 12, 13-ish. And they were, I would say that arguably at that tour, they were the biggest they ever were, maybe, or...
No, but they were super powerful and they were killing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had done it all at this point.
Yes.
Clearly. And I remember it was the like the equivalent of the Chicago Stadium is the who knows what it's called now. Massive place. And I'm watching, I'm like 8 songs in, and this realization came over me because they had these like almost like long curtains that were screens.
Yeah.
Where they kept the cameras on all 4 guys mostly throughout the night. And I'm watching them rip into whatever song. And it hit me that I was watching these 4 guys who had accomplished everything you could imagine in a music career on a Thursday night in Chicago, trying their best to be the best band in the world.
Yeah.
I could feel it. I could see it. I could hear it. I could see how much they cared.
Yes.
There was no denying the effort and the attention and the care that was being, all 4 of them. And I got all fucking teary.
Yeah.
I got so emotional because I was like, wow, like they can fucking phone this shit in every night. And all these 25,000 people will love it. But I was standing there with tears streaming down my face going, I can see how much these guys fucking care.
And this is why people clown on Bono, but that guy has hope in a way that's like, I think that's why they clown on him, frankly.
Yeah.
Because he is incredibly hopeful. The things he did from a philanthropic, he believes in the best of humans. And I don't fucking know him, but like I know enough about U2, and I'm a scholar of that band and of that guy, and like you can clown on him all you want, but like Nick Cave said it, hope is like a warrior stance. It's like, why would you want to surrender to hopelessness? And like, what? Because that is surrender. It's the simplest path.
Yeah.
And like, hope is a warrior stance. That's the idea. And then there was this great line, Cameron Crowe in Ione Skye wrote an autobiography and talked about how John Cusack didn't want to be in Say Anything because he'd done a lot of teen movies. And he was sitting with Ione Skye and Cameron Crowe and said, why do I want to be in this movie? Like he said to Cameron. And Cameron said, because you get to be a warrior for optimism. And like, I don't believe in optimism, but I believe in hope. And I think Lloyd Dobler as a symbol is like one of the greatest symbols of hope that we have in that film. It's like his dialogue, his character. And I just think like the only way forward for any of us is to be, hopelessness is the thing, it's the poison that has entered the system. and like it can't go on.
Well, to that point, let's go back. I want to go back for a second because we spent a lot of time talking about like the guy whose face you had to go kneel down and get into.
Yeah.
But I've had a couple of experiences, and I could tell you story after story of like I remember being at a charity benefit as a guest. Usually, I'm there as a performer, which can be the most thankless events in the world.
Those are the toughest.
The toughest.
Yeah.
But I was at this charity event, very elevated, very fancy, like a lot of celebrities and like really high end of charity event. And there's a performer doing a set, and I'm looking around the room, and everyone is talking to the point where I really can't hear the performer. And the performer was James Taylor.
Yeah.
And I just went, wow. Okay, so I highlight that because we spent energy talking about how that pisses us off and how can people be so inconsiderate and discourteous. And what I think needs to be said, and a great reminder, is how many times in the last year of touring, how many moments did you have where you, whether you acknowledge it to the audience or not, I try to acknowledge it, but every night I'm on stage, there are multiple times when I go, wow, we just had a fucking moment.
Oh, it's the best.
Like multiple times where I go, where I'm aware that there's a connection happening.
Oh, yeah.
Where everyone is like it's like I'm telling a story and everyone in that fucking room is like this.
So take it a step further, by the way, just to pause. I think that's like humanity. Like, I think we owe each other that kind of like thing. I think like we need each other, and like the community of people, it's like, I feel that way. As much as I feel frustrated and fucking like down about it all, like we're extraordinary beings, and like we need each other and the community of this planet. And not to get too hippie on it, because I know, but like we are all one click away from each other, and it's like we think we're not, but we are. And so it's like, I don't understand. I just wish we could focus the beam of culture to like shine it, and not that like just because somebody has a differing opinion than you that's maddening, that feels oppressive, that might be actually oppressive, that's like, I read this story where this guy whose son was shot by another kid, and the kid went to jail. He was like a juvenile or maybe, and this guy went and visited this kid every day, every week, visited him every week for years. And then the interview, and then he got out, he spoke on his behalf, got out, then he went back in, he did something else. And this guy, they said, why are you doing this? This guy shot and killed your son. And he goes, there's victims on both sides of the gun. And I just remember reading this and being like, this is the promised land. Like if I can get myself to this place, that's how I want to die. I want to die full of wonder, full of empathy, and more wide open. And so, we talk a lot about being frustrated by the world. And I like to think it's because we expect better from humans. And I think that we just feel shit we feel shit. It hits me hard. And so anyway, I just think the only way forward is a level of togetherness that we're just not at right now.
Not even close.
But we felt it at the beginning of COVID. You saw it happen.
Yeah.
When everybody was stripped down to their studs.
We saw it right after 9/11.
Yeah. You always see it. Whenever someone's bereft, whenever someone's like stripped to their studs, that's when shit gets good. The problem is that what we should have done as a culture is build and move from that platform and grow. And what happened is like most people don't even admit that that COVID was a thing. They forget it.
See, I actually look at 9/11 as the last great example of unity, where everyone seemed to be bonded together and looking out for each other and there for each other for a period of maybe not many months, but months.
Yeah.
Where there was a palpable, I got you. We're all together in this. We've all been victimized, and we're going to get back, and we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And with COVID, it was an immediate division.
Right.
It was an immediate sides choosing.
I remember the beginning of it feeling a little more kumbaya,
For a
but maybe
second.
I live in
For a
San
second.
Francisco, so you know, it's a different fucking scene.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
ahead.
go. But what you were saying, yeah. So anyway, I think,
No, and the other thing I wanted to mention was, because I want to know if I've never had this thought before, so I want to see if I'm full of shit or if you agree. When we talk about like the moment with you two, for me, or you, we talked earlier at dinner with the gang about
Public
like
Enemy.
the first time I heard Red Rain on the
Right.
Peter Gabriel album, and I was just so moved by it. Whenever I hear stories of a piece of music or a performance moving someone in that way, I don't want to say 100%, but I'm going to go 96% minimum, if not 100%. Those people are musicians. I don't hear people who are not creative or in the music business. I've never heard anybody like that tell me a story where they were at a concert and that so-and-so did this thing and they were so, it's always fellow artists.
we might be able to
fellow
articulate,
musicians.
but I think the reason that people go see Zach Bryan in a fucking stadium,
I'm not
there's
minimizing.
right. I think there's an element of, I don't think most people can articulate how they feel. And I don't think they can even feel the way they feel. And I think that's why being torn down to the studs is like such a vulnerable place. And that's where you can get real good connection with humans when they're like that. And then they immediately guard back up and then they're back to being whatever. But I think like as artists, and I'm not a big fan of separating artists from non-artists, but I just think we spend our time being in touch with our feelings. I mean, like, I am a fucking like compulsive. It's almost like it's unbearable, I think, for people around me. You're much less so, but like you're you're like a guy who's in touch with his shit. And
I hope so. I try to be.
But I mean, I think it's the only way to be a conduit for what we express.
So you think that it's a very common experience, but that we're more articulate about it because we're artists, and I don't know that I agree with that.
No, I think that we are more in touch with it.
Oh, I see.
I think we're like, that muscle is strong. And I think most people's muscles are not strong in that way. But I think everybody has the capacity to.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting that I've had many conversations with people who regale me with the tale of seeing so-and-so at this venue. They remember the venue, they remember the song, and they remember that and then they went to this chord, or then he went to this note, and and they're still talking about it. And I have never had an experience with people who are just sort of concert goers, even people I know who are very articulate people, but who are not musicians or.
I just don't think that muscle in them, like I don't think they can articulate the language. I think when you're at a show and there's like a transcendent moment and everybody's elevated into that thing, I think everybody's feeling it. They have to be.
Do they?
Yeah. But you think that there's like a level of, they're just kind of feeling the experience of being in a room with
I
a
don't
bunch
know.
of people.
I'm asking the question.
I think that there's a chemical reaction that occurs. Everybody always says like music is subjective. I think that there's like, I think there's absolutes.
I don't want to belabor it. I'll leave it with this. The last time I played, which was last weekend, both nights there was at least one, if not several moments, but there was one song both nights. And maybe it was the way I set it up or the whatever, that I said to the audience, and this has been happening more and more frequently, at the end of the song, because of the level of reaction, I said, I got to take a second and just thank you guys. Like, I want to say to you, look at you and say,
yeah,
thank you. We just had a moment, didn't we? And the audience went crazy, and they were like, yeah, because I could tell, like, it was pin drop, and then it was at the very last breath of the song, it was just standing ovation
dope.
Craziness, right? What I'm saying is, I don't know how many of those thousands of people who experienced that with me are telling that story now. I'm telling the story because it really meant something to me as the performer.
Right.
But I don't know how many of those people, I know they were in it with me in the moment. I just don't know that they're gonna, and it's weird for me to use myself as the example, but those people who went to see the same U2 concert I did,
Yeah.
are they sitting around talking about like, and then I
I'm
looked
telling
at
you,
them
I
and I
don't
got
think
this.
people have the vocabulary. I think it's like, I think you're underestimating like that how much we live and breathe music, that it's something like a language to us.
Okay.
I swear to God.
Maybe.
I mean, like my kid isn't a musician, and when she listens to Broadway songs that she likes, watching her chemical react to this thing.
Oh,
and
okay, great.
But she's also a very big feeling human.
Yeah,
so
she is.
she's experiencing things like a big feeling human would. A lot of people feel things small. A lot of people feel things sheltered. A lot of people, but they still feel them. They just don't articulate them they can't articulate them even.
Right.
Like, I think that we are big feeling people. And I think that allows us to.
Yeah.
And
You
so,
think?
yeah. And so when you are that way, it's what makes artists a currency that is important.
I realized that we got completely off. I started to make a point a couple hours ago with you about your wife. So your wife, whose name we will not say. I'm going to come up with a different, pick another name that is not her name.
Hold on. Bocephus.
Okay.
My wife, Bocephus.
Bocephus.
That's a beautiful name.
So when I was getting to know Matt years ago, we've been friendly for like a 12, 15
long
years.
time.
Yeah, long time. And I had never met his wife, Bocephus. And he would reference her, not like a ton, but like enough.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, partly I think because I never met her,
Right.
I started to make a joke that I said she's fictional.
Yeah.
You're not married.
Right.
Because there's no pictures of her anywhere so I meant to like just as courtesy to say, oh, and I hope you and your wife Bocephus have a great time. And I don't know why, but I decided her name was Gretchen.
Yeah, it's great.
So I was like, man, I can't remember if I said it to you or whether I texted. I think I texted you.
She loves
something
it,
about,
by the way.
Hey, and give my best to Gretchen. And you were like, dude, I will, but her name is Bocephus, which is not her name, but.
It was pretty great. She thinks it's one of her favorite things.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is my recollection. This is one of my proudest moments. I'm pretty sure that what I did was I responded. I said, are you sure it's not Gretchen?
It's so good.
Pretty sure it's Gretchen.
Are you sure your wife's name is?
Are you sure your wife's name isn't Gretchen?
It's great.
Anyway.
Yeah, she, that was fucking classic.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about another topic that we get on sometimes, which I think might be valuable to other people.
Oh, shit.
We are at a time when the creation of new music, writing songs, first of all, I don't know how many people watching and listening understand that when people like Matt Nathanson
and Richard Marx
and Matt Scannell, who was with us earlier, get an idea for a song, and then we finish that song, and then we decide we want people to hear that song, and we go and record that song, that there is a significant financial cost to that experience.
Sure.
Right? There was a time when that really wasn't as big a factor because it was almost like investing in yourself or gambling in a way.
Sure.
Where if we were right that this was not that we were after hits, but we were like, if we felt like this thing that really resonates with me that I created, I think might resonate with other people. And it has, obviously, with both of us.
Yeah.
That the cost didn't matter because we were going to be more than rewarded, but it wasn't even just a financial thing. It was like, that's worth doing. It's worth doing. It's not just an expense. It's not just a cost.
Right.
I don't know that I feel that way anymore. I feel like I ask myself a lot. I don't know, we've touched on this. I have a pretty ongoing battle with myself between my need to write new songs and record new songs because it's just part of who I am.
Right.
And the practical part of me that goes, dude, there's no money in this anymore. And people are not paying attention. It's just white noise. Even like the people who love what you do, they might listen to it or they might love it, but music doesn't hold the same currency in people's hearts that it once did, because there's too much competition for their attention or whatever the argument you want to make. So I ask you, how do you reconcile those things? Because I'm struggling with it right now.
I have a relatively new theory to lay on you.
Okay.
I think music is not dead. I think the music industry is very dead, right? And so I think fans still listen to things the way they did. It's just like, it doesn't, you're right, as a cultural, there's no way, everything is a tributary. Everything is like a small tributary that you can't get a collective thought. And I think what we used to do is we used to gamble on the idea that like, well, maybe this thought that I'm having could be a collective thought, right? Like, and you have had many collective thoughts of the group, right? Like you've had songs that like get into the foundation of humans. And I think that's a really fun payoff, that kind of gamble.
It is. And it's a little addictive too.
1,000%. And it gives you a sense of self, which you know what I mean also. And so I think we're just currently in a time where that just isn't the case. We're also older. And so we're not gonna, music really moves between young people in a way. That's really that's the place, because young people are, like we talked about, pulled down to the studs. They're feeling things, they're bare wire. It's like they just are. And so music to them is like, it impacts them like seismically. And we are.
Do you think it still does?
Oh, for sure.
You think the 22-year-old, they're like
my kid is a bananas for shit. Like, and I just think, yeah, I mean, when you hear kids talk about Lucy Dacus or, you know, that it's there, it's just, it's
okay. Well, even more to my point, if that's the case, and I believe you, because I think I do get a little sense of that. So, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but like you just like, this is a really interesting conversation for me. So if we go with, music fans are just as passionate at that age as we were when we were that age.
Yeah.
I get that, and I'm happy about that. And I'm even okay with the frank awareness and acknowledgement that I'm not part of that.
right.
I'm 61 years old. I'm not on the radio,
You're
right?
so maddeningly attractive.
However,
it fucking sucks.
I love you.
I'm 52. I look like a bag of shit. Jesus.
However, at our age, if anything, we're better than we were before.
Well, the songs are better for sure. I feel that way. I think my
So
shit.
what do we do with that? What do we do with the fact that, like, I can look at what you just said and go, yeah, you know what? You're probably right. Like, yeah, the music business is so fucked and it's so weird and so different and everything. But if there are people like your daughter and millions of others who are young, who are getting oxygen and nutrition just from like geeking out and listening to this song 17 and 18 and 19 times a day, like we did, I love to know that. But I'm still writing. I still have shit to say.
I know.
And I still have melodies and pieces of music that I really am proud of, that I really want to connect.
I know. It's maddening.
And I go through this, and look, not to be a dick, but it's like, I don't need to do it anymore. It's not a need.
Right.
But it is. It's a need in here. It's like, I can't imagine. There have been times in the last couple of years where I thought, because my touring life, like we talk about this all the time, our touring is really what our main job is, right? You can go out and tour and you know that X number of people are going to come see you because you've built a legacy of work. And you still have new fans who are listening and buying what you do. But we're still out there based upon the past for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Even when it comes to adding new songs to the show, it's a tricky walk. And I feel frustrated sometimes to the point where I'm like, why am I even still doing this? Why am I trying to come up with new songs and make new records? And
Yeah.
so talk to me about what your version of that is?
I mean, so fundamentally, I believe that I do the work for myself, because the act of doing the work and learning and growing is really all I want to do with my life. And so whether or not people find it the way I think they should, no matter how maddening it is that things don't go further than they could or whatever, I just think, number one, you do the best work you can all the time that you can do it. And I feel a need and the challenge and the drive to keep making things. So that's a natural thing. Like every time I want to make something, I want to make it better. I think the thing that's just a bummer is like when you don't feel forward motion in your career, when you don't feel like what you're doing is growing your thing, that's our touring business grows. But when you don't, it's different. When you don't feel like you're connecting with humans, like that you aren't your people already. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something I've had to come to terms with, which is like becoming a cottage industry instead of maybe being able to like swing and crack the bat and maybe have a big song that makes me bigger and, oh my God, wouldn't that be great? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wild. And I don't think there's an answer except that I can speak, I love music so much that all I want to do is continue to write songs and figure out how to get better at them. And so I just keep doing that. And then the money part of it, I use the money that I make on tour to spend to make the record that I make, because I don't want to compromise what I'm making. And then the next part is you make something good because there's a chance that at some point somebody's going to hear it and go, that's fucking good. And why would you give anything less than 200% if you have the opportunity that potentially somebody's going to cross it and be moved by it? It just doesn't happen on the large scale. And sometimes it does, but it's like a lottery win, this Chapel Roan's a great example of something that like came out of essentially nowhere and fucking blew up. And then, there's always things like that. Zach Bryan was one of those things. Noah Kahn was one of those things. And so it's like, but it was fun before when you could dream on that. That's what I'm saying about the lack of wonder, the lack of joy tied to it. For us, we go like, well, what's the fucking point? Like, who cares? And it's like, well, yeah, man, we can't give into that. Like,
well,
not that you haven't. I mean, I saw it today. That's what I'm saying. Like, but when you feel it, like you can feel it, but you can't give into it, because when you give into it, then you become like, how many fucking bands are out there just like not trying? It's all I see. I just see like my peers or your peers just like sleepwalking through their fucking careers. And it's like, I don't think they think it's good. I was reading this REM book and like, you have to put the effort into the thing to make it good. That's just how it works. Like you have to spend the time on the thing. I don't know, maybe that's not your experience, but I feel like you have to be in it. And the muscle has to be moved, and like you got to do the work. You have to put the work in.
For sure.
And I just think a lot of people don't, because the music industry is full of idiot, like bad business, shitty grifter, like kind of losers, frankly. Like, and I don't mean it like, but like how many people do you meet? And it's just like, I did this. Why are you doing this? Like, you do it because music is God. Music is the fucking God. You feel it today when you were singing in that fucking room and that band was on fire. It was like, this is what life's about.
Well, the selfish pleasure, the experience of singing in a room with brilliant players.
Oh, it was.
When we're all in it, we're all cooking, we're all grooving, and it's like, and I can hear everything sounds great, and my voice feels great, and I'm just like doing, like this is what I do. This is oxygen for me.
I got up at 4 a.m. so I could drive down and watch you do it. But because it's fucking awesome. Like, that's my point, is like, somebody said to me, like, my buddy Dan texted me, he's in a band, big band, huge band, texted me, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm in the studio. My buddy is making a big band record and it's pretty fucking dope. And he goes, well, that's a novel concept. You're at the studio. He's like, and I go, yeah, dude, I'm watching somebody else do something. It's fucking great. And he goes, it's crazy how I've never thought to do that. That sounds awesome. And I was like, yeah, isn't being in the room of like being at the at the crux of like a chemistry experiment.
Yeah.
Like that's working. And then I don't have to be anxious because I don't have to do shit. I can just watch you and then be in the room and hear fucking Vinnie Colaiuta do a different fill and hear the fucking horn player rip it up. It's like, yeah, man, this is what it's like to be alive. It's like fucking. It's like the best parts of fucking are like love making or whatever, but it's like, yeah, it's like, I want to touch something. I want to fucking feel alive. And that to me is the best thing ever. And so that's why I was like, I'm going to get up early. I'm going to drive and see Richard before I go to Claremont. And I did, and I didn't regret one bit of it because it was like watching human beings do great shit and be great. Like watching I don't like sports, but every time I've ever watched a sport or the Olympics, it's like watching people be excellent. And like, I'm down.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. I love watching people and watching you be able to do that. And what was so great about the way this record works is it's all contained. So it's happening in the moment. So it's like, there's nothing's gonna happen tomorrow. And so it's like, so yeah, when it pops, it pops. And when the fucking horn player gets his underpants twisted because he's like, I tried really hard and now I'm not. And it's like, but it's like, who cares?
Which happened today.
And he's
by
like
the
a
way.
mercurial guy, but like he brought the fucking shit. It's like, they're all fucking children. Who knows?
Yes.
You know, I don't know. Like they're all children trapped in adult bodies. But like when you see John Frusciante from the Red Hot Chili Peppers play the solo at Abbey Road for fucking Danny, California, and that band's playing and he turns time around. You feel him slow fucking time. I'm in. I just want to be in that moment. That's all I want.
Yeah. I think that it's one of my favorite things about you and our friendship is how we nerd out about stuff and what fans we are. That to be able to hold on to fandom, like I am a huge U2 fan, but you are on a whole nother level.
You had friends probably.
No.
Because I didn't have any friends. I just sat in the basement listening to the records.
Come on.
And ate flaky puffs.
But I feel like a big part of what fuels us to keep doing it is our fandom of other people.
And it's the thing that keeps us down, P.S.
True.
It's like crazy. The love of music inspires us to push as hard as we can, and it fucking bums us out.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. That's why the people who live with us, who are, blessed or cursed to live with us, have to deal with this insanity all the time.
Dude, my wife has only recently told me, or at least it's only clued me in, that I'm difficult. And I gotta tell you, I back it. I think I am.
I'm pretty sure she's told you before this.
Yeah, but I didn't hear it. And now I hear it. I think it's therapy. But yeah, man, it's crazy.
We could go on and on and on. I think we have to do another chapter 2, but I'm gonna go to the end of what we do, which is a gift. I loved this, by the way, and I love that you came and hung with me today. And this was a great day.
Yeah,
I would mark today in the win column.
It's awesome,
even without this hang.
Yeah, if you get any sort of skin cancer, I'm gonna be pissed.
I mean, I did get a little too much sun today.
Do you wear block?
No, I gave that up.
You look good.
Thank you.
Frustrated.
No, this is the first time I've had a little too much sun in ages. I'm really good at measuring it out.
I almost, at one point, I brought water with us, but I was like, oh, this is how people die.
Yeah, it was so hot today.
So hot.
Yeah, and you were smart to bring the water. I was dehydrated.
I was going to give you some water,
sunburned.
but I didn't know if you were going to be into that. If I was like, do you want some of my water?
Oh, I would totally have.
What a dick.
No, I didn't, but I didn't like, I'm a camel. I like.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because I definitely had enough water. And I was like, he's not going to want to drink from my straw.
I totally would have. So, I don't know if you know this, but
that thing's still working?
Yeah. I give a gift to my guests.
Oh, yeah.
A vinyl.
You've given me the gift of Richard. I don't need no vinyl.
I've given you the gift of dick.
Yeah, dude. Whenever you said in 2022, you're like, I'm going to start answering the phone. Go for dick.
Go for dick.
That's my favorite.
This was really difficult because I know how much vinyl means to you. I went through so many possibilities and choices. I usually go find something in my lifelong vinyl collection to give to somebody. Which is sometimes difficult for me because sometimes I don't want to part with a certain.
So the vinyl that you give to people comes from your shit?
99%.
What?
Maria Menounos was here just recently, and I wanted to get her a record by a famous Greek artist, but by the time I figured out who I was running out of time. So I went to see what her birthday was. And then I looked up what was the number one album on the day she was born.
When
it was the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack.
Oh shit, she's young.
1978.
Oh.
And so I have it. I have a copy of that. But I like Maria, but I don't know her that well.
You can't give that
And
up.
I can't give up the one that I took to parties in high school.
Does it say R Marx on it?
Yeah, it's like
great.
I think it's like literally a piece of masking tape with RM on it. So I bought a copy of the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack.
Great.
Now, with you, there were so many ways to go. We've had many conversations about vinyl and how much it means to you. So I was looking through stuff, and then I was starting to get frustrated, and then I looked, and there was an album sitting by itself. You know why? Because it's the last piece of vinyl that I bought.
Oh.
I went on eBay because I was like, I want this piece of vinyl.
Oh shit.
And I'm going to give it to you because I'm going to find another copy of it. But it's just so, I just feel like it's so right.
Oh my God, I love that you get
This. I bought this for myself, but I'm going to give it to you. It's Rod Stewart Smiler.
dude. First of all, the camel toe on the front is
Right?
exquisite.
There's all kinds of gifts in here.
Dude,
First of all,
that's his-
we're such Rod Stewart.
He's the master.
I mean, look at this.
Oh my God,
And
dude.
you got
Ron's in there.
yeah, you got Sweet Little Rock and Roller as the opening
Oh
track.
yeah, dude, this is
You
exciting.
got Sailor. You got Bring It On Home to Me, and You Send Me the Sam Cooke covers. You got Let Me Be Your Car, which was written
Girl
by
from North
Elton
County,
John.
little Dylan.
You don't have this, right?
No,
I was like, I have so many Rod
dude, this
albums
is
on
great.
vinyl.
My Rod knowledge is like Faces and then like Hit Rod.
That's why I got you this.
Yeah, this is great.
Because there's some stuff on here. This wasn't one of the biggest albums. I mean, it's respected.
He's such a badass. It's
Such
fucking
a-
crazy.
And his voice. And
Look
like,
at how effortlessly cool he is. He's wearing a fucking witch's costume in this.
yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? He like literally, and his fucking hammer is right there. It's awesome. He's the best part about Rod Stewart is that he's there was a word that I wrote down in my journal, but he's like he just is he's unburdened by the self-consciousness that makes this is what I'm saying about artists. When you say things like people look to Rod Stewart, and the reason he's so inspiring is because he's so unmoored from any of the things that most people are trapped under.
Well, first of all, he loves being Rod Stewart.
Well, but even the way he sings, like the way it's in the lyric, like
Yeah.
he is what a part of us that we all want to be, and it's not the goofy, like you can clown again. It's like Bono. You can clown on Rod Stewart all you want, but when that guy is fucking on,
Yeah.
you wish you had that level of confident. And it's like, it doesn't mean he's that way all the time. It doesn't mean anything, but like he represents this thing. And that's our job as artists for people that can't access that shit. And so it doesn't mean that they don't feel it. They just don't know it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's the job of everybody. We're exquisite beings. We're like fucking magic. We are fucking blood and bone and like flesh on a rock in meat suits hurling through space. It's like, it's awesome. And we're going to die and we're going to be done. And then we're going to become the fucking something else, right? Our energy is going to move into a tree. And it's like, that's fucking excellent. And most people are too fucking like jammed up to be able to enjoy it, experience it, recognize it. And so it's our job to do the best job we can to fucking show them that part of ourselves. And so that's why I fight with people in the fucking crowd. That's why you get mad at the way the world is. And I'm reaching here, but it's this idea that like, because we fucking dig in. And when we do, it's people need that. And it's our job. And I don't mean like we're better than, that's just our job. It's just like somebody that does radiology. Their job is to look at the fucking, and figure out where the cancer is. Our job is to like, dig in and be fearlessly vulnerable so that other people can listen and go, whew, yes. And that is what makes music important.
Yeah.
It's like, that's everything. And this guy is fucking it. I mean, look at that. That's like That's the example.
I had the great pleasure of making a toast to him at a table with his band and friends and stuff like last year. And I made a toast to him at the table, and I said, the people who say never meet your heroes never met Rod Stewart.
He seems like the best. I
He
only
really
know through
is.
Lionel, and I read the book where he calls cocaine shovel, which is my favorite. I love that. We get that around the house. We have a couple sayings.
You know,
Shovel for cocaine.
you and I have had so many conversations about other artists or famous people, and our run-ins with them are
Yeah.
good, the bad, and the ugly. And this guy, you know, who I really have only gotten to know in the last couple of years, and I consider him a friend, but like the time I've spent with him is like, he's everything I wanted a hero
Him to be.
because I've idolized him my whole life, and he's just the best.
Unapologetically, Rod Stewart.
And I felt like I know that we've talked a lot about Rod together, but it was that this is the last piece of vinyl I bought
I love
for
it.
myself, and I want to give it to you.
Dude, I'm fucking psyched.
And I'm going right from here to eBay to get another copy.
I love it.
Oh, I think you got to take the hat off, because here's the other thing.
Oh.
One of my favorite things about our friendship is sometimes when I'm having a crazy hair day, really crazy hair day, I have I not posted,
Yeah.
I'm having a Matt Nathanson
I gotta
moment.
say, does Stamos really have nice hair?
He does.
Well, fuck him.
He does.
We
He
don't have
does.
time for that.
He legit does.
Does he? He's
Yeah.
handsome too. They could have spread that around.
He's
made six.
too
They
handsome.
could have made like 150 good-looking people, maybe 1,000. Instead, they made one Stamos.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
I said to him early on, like, do you ever just wake up and just cancel things and just say, I'm just going to handsome everything in today?
That's right.
Or like when things are like, when you're having a really bad day, do you just go, fuck it, I'm John Stamos?
Oh, dude, if you had to pick somebody who was like good-looking in a way, I know your answer actually. God damn you.
What were you going to say?
If you could pick somebody who is just like naturally the most beautiful human,
Male?
it
or
could be
female?
male or female.
Oh, well, you know the answer.
I know I do. It's so great.
No, I do. I think Daisy is like the most beautiful
I know.
human being I've ever seen, like physically.
Yeah.
And I always say that when people comment on her physical beauty, then I get to say, and that's the least impressive thing about her.
Yeah, no, she's pretty exceptional.
Like today, we were leaving to go do the hike, and we passed. She was coming home as we were leaving, right? So she rolled the window down, and I swear,
Yeah, your breath was taken.
we're gonna be married 10 years in December.
I remember.
And she rolled that window down, and I was like, oh my God.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
I feel that way when I see 21 Jump Street era Johnny Depp. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Dude, I love you.
Dude, you're the fucking best. This is great. We could do
What a
this all
great
night.
day.
And we kept it kind of relatively like we didn't shit on anybody. And I think it was pretty good.
We did all day, just not here.
we eviscerated. Dude, full disclosure.
If you saw the list
It's like
of
his
people
book.
we
All
eviscerated.
right, let's talk for a second. He writes a book about stories that he tells. None of them are the stories that I want him to tell. Motherfucker's got some amazing things that are in the vault.
That's when I'm
80.
really old.
So I'm coming down to help you ghostwrite.
Yeah, you will.
And we'll just, because your stories are great. And today, everybody had to endure. We ripped apart every motherfucker on planet Earth.
It was kind of fun.
It's great.
feel
It's
good.
so empowering.
It was a great day.
And it's like also like toxic. It's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Makes me feel like I'm dying inside.
All right, so we have to do a chapter 2 because there's a whole lot of stuff we didn't get to.
Yeah.
All right, cheers, Matt Nathanson. I'm going to make you a drunk if it's the last thing I do.
Imagine. That's going to end my marriage. I like it.